What's up? It's Tony from Street Church. Welcome to the Inside Job podcast. Hey, week one of our brand new 2-week series that we have called Be Bothered. I know, sounds so uplifting and so encouraging, right? Be bothered. But the truth is, I think it's important. I think we need to allow ourselves to be bothered by things that should bother us. Not to be immune to those things. To go there, to allow ourselves to be upset, to be hurt, to be angry, to be bothered by things around us that should bother us. You know what the truth is? We've all have grown up trying to self-protect our hearts. And in an effort to not allow our hearts to sort of grow cynical or cold, we keep other people and their suffering and grief and pain at arm's length, right? We don't allow ourselves to get too emotionally invested into their suffering. We don't allow ourselves to be bothered by it. We keep other people and their suffering at arm's length, all in an effort to protect our lives and to, and to protect our hearts. And if that's you today, my encouragement for you is to be bothered. Allow yourselves to go to those spaces where you get emotionally invested in the pain of other people. Be upset over things that should upset you. Get angry over things that should get you angry. Be bothered over things that are not as they should be, right? We can all be sitting on the couch one day watching a news program of a person that was just raped or murdered, and not 6 seconds later, changing the channel and watching the Brady Bunch. And the Brady Bunch is not even all that good. I mean, I can walk out my front door in Trenton here, and I can walk a block away, and somebody can try and sell me heroin. Like, that should bother me. Or I can walk, I can walk down the street, I can go to the park, and it's not uncommon for me to see somebody have their arm inside of a garbage can trying to fish out a half-eaten sandwich to eat for lunch. That should upset me. I can go down the street and have a woman trying to sell her body to me for $25. That's horrible. That should bother me on a deep level. And I need to allow myself to go there. And the truth is that we have built up an immune system. We have become desensitized over things that should bug us, that should hurt us, that should impact us on an emotional level, and that should bother us. So we need to undesensitize ourselves, And I'm not sure that that's even a word, but if it's not, I just invented it. We need to undesensitize ourselves and be bothered over things that should bother us. Jesus was bothered over things. Things got to him. Things bothered him on an emotional level. He allowed himself to enter into the grief and pain of others and be bothered over things that were bothering them. All right? I want to read something. Everyone knows the story of Lazarus. Jesus' friend, he died. Jesus found out he was dead. He was on his way to town to heal him. And he sees his sister Mary right before he healed Lazarus. And he sees Mary weeping. And all of her friends are around there. And they're crying their eyes out. And this is what happens. It's in John 11. Beginning in verse number 33. When Jesus saw Mary weeping, and the Jews who had come with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in his spirit and greatly troubled. And he said to her, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, Lord, come and see." And then Jesus wept. The greatest thing about this was Jesus wasn't hoping he was going to heal his friend Lazarus. He wasn't wondering. He wasn't thinking that there was a good shot he was going to heal. He knew the end of the story was going to end well for Lazarus. He knew he was going to be raised from the dead. And regardless of that, he saw the pain and the suffering and the grief that these people were experiencing in the moment. And he didn't keep that pain and grief and suffering at arm's length in an effort to protect himself. Rather, he did the opposite. He entered into their grief. He allowed himself to be empathetic and to be sympathetic. And because of his compassion, he dove head into their grief. And we see in verse number 35, we see Jesus wept. So what does that mean? Jesus wept. It means this: God cried. God cried. All because he allowed himself to be bothered by things that should bother him. And when we see pain and suffering, and we see, trouble and grief, when we see the grief of others around us and their pain and their suffering, regardless of whether they have brought it upon themselves or not, right? Regardless of the circumstance, that should impact us on an emotional level, right? We should be bothered by it. And Jesus is our example in everything, right? How to think, how to feel, how to react, how to respond, how to act. And Jesus, even though he knows the end from the beginning, he knew things was going to end up well for his buddy Lazarus, he still saw the pain and suffering, entered into it, and allowed himself to be bothered by that. To be bothered by that. And the truth is this, and I'll give you one for the road now, okay? I'll give you something to put inside of your back pocket on a rainy day. One for the road. Here it is. Everybody has heard the term, all's well that ends well, right? Well, the truth is all's well that begins well. And we need to begin to be bothered by things that should bother us if we want to one day make an impact and be a source of light in those people's lives. Allow yourself to be bothered by things that should bother you. Week 1 down. You're going to love week 2. I got something special planned for you guys. So, hey, have a great week. I'll see you guys then.